Hi guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you guys tuned in, and today we are here for our June reading wrap up. Excuse my red chest. I just got out the shower and I love my water scorching hot, so whenever I got the shower, my skin is always red. But needless to say, we're gonna get into this video. June was interesting. I did not read as many books as I normally would. I did start the month off in a book slump, and I just did not read for the first 6 days of June, I think. At the end of May, I finished Long Shot, and y'all, that book just really put me in my feels. I just could not pick up another book. I was just looking for that same feeling. But I finally did start new books, and for the rest of June, they were really great reads. So I didn't read as many, but I do think I had really good quality books. I really enjoyed the books I was reading, and a lot of my books were so good I was finishing in 3 days max. That's how good some of my books were. But yeah, we're gonna get into the video and we're gonna talk about all these books I read. So okay, so starting out, which, let me grab my phone. I'm not gonna do them in order, just because I do want to talk about two books first that I'm not really gonna go too much into detail on in this video, just because I am posting a reading vlog for it. Also, let me turn my TV down because I think you guys may hear I have Fairy Odd Parents playing in the background, so I don't want you guys to be trying to listen to me and listen to Fairy Odd Parents. But yes, so what was I saying? I just lost my train of thought. So yes, I did a reading vlog for two of the books, and so we're gonna talk about those two first, just because, like I said, I'm not gonna go into super detail about it, just because the reading vlog will be up after this video, so stay tuned for that one. I really did enjoy these two reads, so let me grab them. Also, the sun is setting, so I think I actually kind of like the lighting right now. But the two books are Happened One Summer and Hook, Line, and Sinker. And so if you guys watched my summer TBR, you know that these two books were on it, and I actually posted an Instagram about these two books too, an Instagram post. But yes, I've only read one other book by Tessa Bailey beforehand, and my expectations were very high, and she did not disappoint. I love this world. I love Westport. I love these men. I love the sisters. It's just such a light read, and it was perfect for summer because the first book does take place over summer, if I remember correctly. But yes, and y'all, they are spicy. Tessa Bailey, her spice is unmatched. But my rating, so I gave both of these a 4 stars. The only reason I couldn't give it a 5-star, I just don't see myself rereading it. I definitely see myself recommending it to a lot of people, but I don't really think I see myself rereading. And usually 5 stars, I'm I could reread that book any day, and I just didn't feel that with these, but I really did enjoy the stories. I do think I don't even know which one I liked more. Oh gosh, I don't know, because I love Piper and Brendan, but I also love Hannah and Fox, and it was just such a beautiful, both of these are so beautiful, and I love the ending for both sisters. Y'all, I love them. I definitely recommend them. And like I said, the reading vlog will be up after this video, so stay tuned if you guys want to see my reactions, my live reactions to both of these books. So moving on, The Ritual. And guys, first of all, this book is super thick, and I'm shocked I read it as fast as I did. I did read it on my Kindle, so that probably explains it. And then I ordered the paperback, and when I saw how thick it was, I was like, wow. Because you don't see how thick it is when you read on your Kindle. But yes, this is by Chantel Tesser, I think that's how you say. But the little quote, it says, "She is to serve and obey him. He will protect and own her." And this book, I think I gave it 5 stars. Let me check my Goodreads, because I don't remember. I feel like it did have the potential to be 5 stars, but let's see what I was feeling when I read it. Okay, I gave it 4 stars actually, but I feel like I can bump it up to 5. I feel like this is a 5-star read. Now that, like, looking back on it, I can definitely see it's a 5-star read. It is very dark. It is a very dark romance, and it is for mature audiences only, so I recommend definitely being cautious if, you know, you don't want that kind of content, or, like, you know, that kind of content in your books. But just a little synopsis of it. So you can kind of say like a fraternity almost. It's kind of like a group, well, let's see, a secret society. Yes, that's the word. A secret society in college. And so these men, they go through it all 4 years of college, and in their last year they are able to finally basically reap the benefits of being in this society. And one of those benefits is finally being able to basically be with a girl, because the first 3 years they are to abstain from sex. They can still be in relationships, but basically they can't do anything sexual. And so the last year they end up having these people called, what do they call them? They call the girls, they actually call the girls something, and I can't remember what they call them. Like, they actually have like a term that they call them. Chosen. They're chosens, yes. So the girls are selected to be the chosens, and if they accept it, they get paired with the person who basically chose them. And they are pretty much at their mercy, like at their sexual mercy. They can, if the guy wants to like pass them off to other men or whatever he wants to do, they are basically at the mercy of the guy. And so the main character, the female main character, which her name is Blake, well, Blakely, but we call her Blake. Her name is Blake, and she's actually in a relationship with one of the guys that is already a part of the society, but then she ends up being a chosen for the main male character, which is Ryan. And they don't know each other at first, but they get to know each other, and there's actually, it is a happy ever after ending. But it is it's a lot, you know. And when I first started, I was like, you know, how is it gonna pick up? But her boyfriend, like the guy she was with prior, he's a little psycho. He definitely has some issues of his own. But yeah, it was very action filled, I guess, like very drama filled, let me put it that way. And just like, even like when, by the time I was in the, like, I was like 50%, and like something that you think will be like more at the end of the book was only in the middle, and it just kept like getting crazier and crazier and crazier. Like, it just kept, like, it was like, oh my gosh, how much like can these people take? But yeah, I highly recommend it. Ryan and Blake, they are so cute. I love like their ending. Like, it was just so freaking cute. The like epilogue, it like skips forward to like when they're older, and like I said, it is a happy ever after ending. So I definitely recommend those if you, well, it's a 3-book series. They're like interconnected standalones, but I definitely recommend trying that out. That's the first one. I think the second one, it may cover his son, but then the third one covers like one of his best friends, and people are saying the one that covers his best friend is like really good. So we'll see which one I pick up next. Hopefully I get to it within like the next 2 months. But the next 2 dark romances I read, I finally started the Dark Verse series, and I actually buddy read, which one? This one. I buddy read this one with one of my little IG besties, Steph. She is so sweet, so cute. But we buddy read this one, and this one, this is the one that got me out of my book slump. I started this one, and we did a few chapters a week. And then, y'all, this is the one I read in like 2 days, I think. I read this one in 2 days, because after I finished this one, I could not like not pick this one up. This one ends on a cliffhanger, so you have to pick this one up. And then the last 3 like cover different characters, so it like made it okay like to stop at this one, because it's like, okay, there was like an ending, like somewhat of an ending to a storyline, at least for these 2 characters. And so these the 2 characters, the main female and the main male, is Tristan and Morana, I think. Is it yeah, Morana and Tristan. So it is a mafia romance. So Tristan is not his dad, but the person that took him in when he was younger is the mafia king of like one area. And then Morana, her dad is the mafia king in another area. And they used to have an alliance, but they don't have an alliance anymore. And Morana is basically, she just wants, well, she starts trying to get vengeance for something. And she actually wants to kill Tristan in the beginning. But then things kind of take a turn. Her and her dad don't have the best relationship. And Tristan also has his trauma, and so they're kind of trying to solve something, but also like these two should not, like, Tristan and Morana should not like be a thing. Like, this is a forbidden romance also, is like the best way to put it. But yeah, it's I love these two. I will say at the beginning, because Tristan does not talk a lot, so you really get more of him in The Reaper, is what I'm gonna say. The Predator, it's like, honestly, I was getting a little annoyed because I'm like, why is he not talking? Like, he's just not the kind of person that talks a lot. Like, he says a lot with his facial expressions. But in The Reaper, things really change a lot, and it's such, like, I think it tied their story together really good. And it really does make you want to pick up the next one, which I think the next one is, honestly, y'all, I just lost my train of thought, and I honestly don't know. But it covers one of the characters that's in this book. I do know that. But yeah, I gave both of these a 5-star, I believe. If I didn't, I definitely agree that these both should be a 5-star now. And like I said, they're pretty quick reads, you know, a little forbidden romance. And I will say, these are true enemies to lovers. Y'all, when I say I like enemies to lovers, I don't take that lightly. Like, I don't take, oh, we just like had miscommunication or something. No. My definition of enemies to lovers is you guys are trying to kill each other. You guys are trying to take each other out, and then you guys turn into lovers. That's what this book is. Like, the true definition of enemies to lovers is in this book. So I definitely recommend these two. Like I said, 5 stars for both. I cannot wait to pick up the 3rd book in the series, and I think the 4th and the 5th book cover something else. And then there is a 6th book coming out. We don't have a date. I think it's supposed to be the end of this year, but it's supposed to cover all the couples, and it's supposed to be multiple point of views. So y'all, I cannot wait. I am so ready. Even if I have not finished the series, I am pre-ordering it as soon as it releases to be pre-ordered. So excited. So like, just even like after reading the first 2 books, already know, like, I need to see everything. One of the fantasy books I read, Six Scorched Roses by Carissa Brabant. So I actually read The Serpent and the Wings of Night. That's the title. I read that one in like February, I think. And so this one is, it's supposed to be, it's not a part of the series, but it's a part of the same world. And you do want, like, it's not required to read before you read the 2nd book in like the Crowns of Noxia world, but it does help. It definitely helps, because some of these characters, well, these 2 characters actually turn out in the 2nd book. And so this is just a little, it was a quick read. I think I read it in like a day and a half. But it's a cute little story. And I think I gave this one, I want to say 4, maybe 3 or 4 stars. Just because it wasn't, I mean, it wasn't much to really, you know, go off of. You could tell, yeah, I gave it 3 stars. So it was just like I said, it's literally just connecting the dots for when you go into the 2nd book. You're not completely lost. Like, you kind of know a backstory of the characters. But is it required? No. But I will say it is preferred. But then I read the 2nd book in the Crowns of Noxia series. So this is The Ashes and Starcursed King. And guys, so if you saw my review on The Serpent and Wings of the Night, I loved that book. I loved it so much, and this one did not disappoint. I don't know what it is, but Carissa Brabant, her like stories, she just like go ahead and like get straight into it. Like, the first one was very action packed. It was like no like there was no like build up like of a world. There was no world building. Well, like there was, but like it was kind of like throughout the entire story. So it didn't make it seem like you were just like, you know, trying to get through the first few chapters just to get into the world building. It wasn't, and it's a very simple world to understand. It is vampires, and so this one, the characters, they are Oriah and what's his name? Raheen? I don't know how you say his name. I'm gonna say Raheen. I've been saying Raheen ever since I've read the first book. But this one does pick off exactly where the Serpent of Wings of Night ended at, and so I don't want to ruin it, but basically the last book the first book ended, how do I put this without ruining it? The first book ended with basically Oriah having a chance to be queen and Raheen also having a chance to be king, I guess is the best way I can put it. And so this one picks up there. It is very Warfield. It kind of reminds me of Akitar, The Wings of Ruin. So Wings of Ruin, if you guys have not read that, that's the third book in the Akitar series. It is very action-packed and very like, there's a lot of war, and it's just not your like typical fantasy, I guess. Like, it's a lot of the emotions were brought out, and that is what this book kind of gave me the feeling of. Like it was very, you know, very busy. And I will say, I don't know how I feel about Raheen. Like one moment I love him, the next moment I'm like, dude. But then I'm also the same with Oriah. I'm like, one moment I'm like, okay girl, I understand. But then the next moment I'm like, stop being difficult. Like, it was a love-hate relationship, but I do love these two characters. I will say I do like them better in the first book. I don't know, I feel like it just took so long in this book, I feel like it took so long for them to like finally like get to where it needed to be. It was a slow burn. Let me just put it that way. It was a slow burn. So it is like, I wouldn't even say, I mean, it has a little bit of a second chance romance in there, but it's not really a second chance romance, if that makes sense. Like, they were on bad terms at the end of the first book, and so they start on bad terms at the beginning of this book, but then there is a happy ever after. So I don't know if you would consider that a second chance romance, because it wasn't like years later, so I guess you consider it, I don't know. Y'all know what I'm saying. But yes, I do recommend this one. I think I gave it, why do I keep losing my phone? I gave it 4 stars. So I gave the first one 5 stars. But yeah, that's this one, and I cannot wait to read more of her writing. There is 6 books in that world, and so the first 2 covered the House of Night, and then the second 2, the 3rd and 4th will cover another like area, and then the 5th and 6th will cover another area. So 2 books per world, or 2 books per like houses, let's say that. But yeah, I truly enjoyed that one. And then we have 2 more books. So the other rom-com I read was By a Thread by Lucy Score. This one was also on my summer TBR, so I'm super glad I got to knock this one out. And this is the only one that I kind of read, like, it took me a minute to get through, just because I was like reading other books and I was reading this one on my Kindle, and so like I would just kind of read a few chapters here and there. But it was super cute, and it's Dominic and Allie, I think that's their names. Yes, Dominic and Allie. So it is a I wouldn't even say, it's not an enemies to love, well, it could be an enemies to lovers, but it's a grumpy boss romantic comedy. And y'all, I definitely had some laugh out loud moments. I definitely had some LOL moments in this book. And so just a little synopsis. So Allie is someone, her life has been turned upside down, let's just say that, and she is basically trying to make ends meet. She is working multiple jobs, and so Dominic, this well-known, not even a fashion designer, but his mom and dad is heavily in the fashion world, and so now he's in the fashion world. He's got like a pretty high up job at a magazine company, and I wouldn't even say he's an entitled prick a little bit, at least in the beginning of the book. And so he actually ends up getting her fired from one of her jobs, and his mom actually offers Allie a job at their company. And so now these two, obviously he doesn't like her, she doesn't like him, but you can tell they both obviously know each other. Like, they find each other attractive, but they hate each other, let's just say it that way. And then also Dominic is really trying not to break rules at their job, like, just, you know, code of conduct rules as far as getting involved with coworkers and things like that. But there's a little bit more backstory behind that as to why he's fighting so hard to not do that. So why he is refusing to act on his feelings with Allie. And there comes a point, you know, obviously Allie is like, okay, I do like you, why are we not doing this? And so yeah, there is a lot of tension, let's put it, there's a lot of tension and a lot of buildup, because Dominic really just has a past that he is really trying not to act on, I guess you can say. But yeah, it is like I said, Lucy Score, she, like, her books, I love her books. Her books are just super easy to read, you know. They're good, like, if you ever want like a palate cleanser or a good rom-com, I highly recommend Lucy Score's books. And I gave this one 4 stars also, I think. Let's see. Yes, 4 stars. And so yeah, the only thing I think that kept me from giving it 5 stars, these are older people. So it's not your normal like 20-something-year-old. These are like, I think she's 39, he's 44, so like, and they go through birthdays, so he turns 45, she turns 40, and I don't know, y'all, it's kind of, I like reading like The Spice, like, I just could not, it was so cringy because it was like they're older, and I don't know why, like, that made me cringe almost. But like, and I don't know why Lucy Score, like, her smut or spice like always has me cringe, but it's not like in a horrible way, if that makes sense. But and most of her characters are usually older. They usually are like in the older generation. They're, you know, in their 30s and their 40s. But this one was very obvious they were in their 30s and their 40s. Like, it was said multiple times, and I don't know, it just kind of had me like, it was a little weird at moments. Like, I'm like, it almost felt like, you know, you reading about your parents or something, like, to say the least. Like, that's how I would put it. But if you can put that aside, it's a really good book. So just a forewarning there. And I am so sorry, the lighting is changing because it is getting dark out, but we have one more book and then we can end. Okay, I just knew my camera was about to time out, so I just went ahead and stopped it. But okay, favorite book of the month, and if you guys follow me on Instagram, you guys already know, because I actually did an entire highlight on this book, and I really hate that I did not vlog it now, because now I wish I vlogged it. But also, I like, if you guys want to see like my live reactions, if you go on my Instagram, I do have a highlight for this book specifically. That's how much I loved it. But guys, oh my gosh. And if you guys watched my previous video before this one, you guys know that I've already, like, I've kind of talked about like how much I love this book and how much I'm going to be talking about it. I had to save this one for last, best for last. Infinity Stars. You guys, it is worth the hype. It is so worth the hype. It did not disappoint at all. Did I already pre-order Iron Flame? Yes. I am so ready. I am like, I have already planned the day it comes out is a weekday. I am taking off work because that is what my day will be consist of, is reading Iron Flame. No doubt about it. And I'm so happy there's going to be like, I think 5 books in this world. So, you know, we got more to look forward to. But oh my gosh, what is if you guys have not already seen stuff about this book, just go like on TikTok, go on Instagram, and just type in 4th Wing. You guys are going to see so much information about this book. But it is a fantasy, and it's dealing with dragons, which I've never dealt with dragon fantasy before, and I loved it. I like absolutely loved it. But Zayden is his name, and what is her name? What's her name? Guys, I cannot remember her name already. You know what? Let me just, you know, we're just gonna turn to the first chapter. It's not even a crazy name. Like, It's a very simple name. Violet, there we go. I was like, what the heck is her name? So Violet, that's her name. And so this world, when they get a certain age, they go through this, like, what do they call it? They call it here whoa, y'all, I guess you can call it like a military school. Like, that's kind of what I think of it as. Like, it's like a military school that they go to when they become a certain age. And I'm trying to see if there's, like, obviously, y'all, I am just not okay today. What the heck? Yeah, we're just gonna, it's like a military school, and it's this thing called Conception Day. And in this military school, think of it like as a college. You have different majors, and so, and it's a 3-year long, like, they're there for 3 years. And whatever, like, your major is what you are training to do once you leave the military school, because then you obviously fulfill that role within the military. And so Violet, she originally all her life has trained for the scribe quadrant, and basically the scribes are people who document everything throughout the war. But her mom is actually like the head chief of the military, and she also has a brother and sister, and they are both writers. So they went through the writers quadrant, and what the writers quadrant is just basically the fighters. Think about like your soldiers. And so the soldiers also pair with a dragon, and your dragon is basically the person that helps you fight in the war. Like, that's your right hand person. Like, that's, you know, that's your protector, whatever you want to call it. And so the writer's quadrant is the only quadrant that is like, you can, that's the only quadrant that takes volunteers. The other ones, you know, you can be assigned to that one or whatever. But since the writer's quadrant is very dangerous, people die. Like, by the first 2 chapters, over 13 people had already died, y'all. So since it is a life or death thing, they do accept only volunteers. But Violet, her mom makes her go to the writer's quadrant just because her brother and sister went through it, and her dad is the one who trained her for the scribe quadrant, but her dad passed, and so her mom is like making her go through the writer's quadrant. She has only had like 6 months to train. A lot of people who go through this quadrant, they train like all their life. Like, they train for years, and like she only had 6 months. And she also, her bones are not the strongest. She breaks really easily. I don't know what the actual condition is called, and I don't even think they mentioned it in the book, but she's like very fragile, to say the least. And so it's not, you know, it's not her dream. It's not her dream to go through the writer's quadrant. And then, needless to say, one of her biggest enemies is also in the writer's quadrant. He's a 3rd year, and it's not really her enemy, I guess you can say. It's more so, I don't even know how you explain it, but her mom killed her, like, his dad, and his dad killed her brother. So, and a guy named is Zayden, and so his dad is basically dead due to her mom killing him, and her brother is dead due to his dad killing him. And so, even though them two didn't commit anything, like, they are basically enemies based off their parents' decisions. And it's not, you know, her sister actually, like, right before she goes into like the quadrant, her sister tells her to stay away from him because they already know, like, he's not gonna like seeing her. Like, he's gonna try to kill her. You know, his dad is dead. He has an ulterior motive. And it's so funny because she actually meets him, like, on the, like, very first thing. Like, the thing before they even actually truly get into, like, they have to go through, they have to walk on this, like, think of like almost like a tightrope or something. I forgot what you call it. But they basically have to walk on this, and right before she gets on there, she meets him. And it does not work out. Like, it's like, dang, she was just told to stay away from him, but then she ends up meeting him. And so, yeah, it's all about her life going through this quadrant, going through this writer's quadrant. It does only cover her first year. And then also you get, you know, well, the back of the book tells you. But, yeah, her and Zayden, do end up like forced to like work together in a sense. I'm not gonna ruin how, but yes, they are forced to work together. So keep in mind, like, she's not really trying to kill him, but he's like, she thinks he's trying to kill her. And so it's just, you know, it's not, when you have to deal with someone, it's not fun. You have to deal with someone who you know wants to kill you is not fun. So yeah, like I said, I highly recommend it. And also I did get the sprayed edges, but y'all, I cannot recommend this book enough. This book was my top book of June. Like, and I will reread it like closer to like when the new book comes out. I am definitely rereading, and I do plan to listen to the audio also. But yeah, I cannot say enough about this book. I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys have seen it all over social media. This book has literally been everywhere, and like I said, it did not disappoint. It deserves every single like good review, good rating. It deserves it all, like hands down. Freaking loved it. I cannot say enough. Like, if you guys can't tell already about how long I've been talking about this book, y'all, it's been so good. So that is it though for all the books I read in June. Like I said, not as many. I think that's all. Yes, not as many, but definitely good quality books. You know, I think I really enjoyed the books I read. I also did have a lot of thicker books this month. A lot of my books were, you know, around that 400 or 500 page range. So and I started off, you know, in a book slump. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know if you guys have read any of these books. If you read Fourth Wing, feel free, let's have a whole conversation in the comments. Also guys, once again, so sorry about the lighting. Like, the sun is just decides to sit when I'm filming. But yeah, I love you guys, and like I said, leave comments. I cannot wait to talk to you guys. I love responding. I love having conversations and seeing what you guys thought of certain books. So do not hesitate to comment, and let's start a conversation. But yeah, I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.